Welcome to the Move Me podcast with Kevin Methvin. Today we have the only Patriots fan I actually like, Jennifer Lawrie. She's a longtime lender. It's been doing it for over a couple decades, and is going to tell us all about how you can get down payment assistance to buy your first home. So the Patriots in the Super Bowl this year, I know you're going to be excited about that.
I am excited. I've been pretty quiet on social media. Usually I'm obnoxious, but it's weird for me this year. Like, he's the quarterback. He's a little baby. Like, I'm just worried about him. And,
Yeah, Tom was a baby at one point too.
Tom was a schmuck, but that's a whole other conversation.
Well, you're only saying that now because has a controlling interest in the Raiders.
Which, anyways, no, I'm saying that because he left us. And once you leave a New Englander, you're dead to us.
Okay, fair enough. But, speaking of dreams and the Raiders going to the Super Bowl maybe the next few years, we want to talk about the Dream for All program, which is coming back.
Yes. So California Dreams for All, I believe this is year 3. And registration starts on February 24th. So if
right around the corner.
Is something you're interested in, we need to get moving.
Okay.
So California Dreams for All is a program from Cal HAFA. It is down payment assistance, 20% up to $150,000.
Wow.
That's life-changing money for some of these people. I mean, that's the difference between a $300,000 purchase and a $500,000 purchase. But there are some things that you need to know. You've got to be a first-time home buyer.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, everybody on the loan has to be first-time home buyers.
Okay.
But the other caveat that we are running into is you have to be a first-generation home buyer.
That's right. Yeah.
And so basically what that means is your mom and dad don't own a house. And they're going to check. So I've had several people ask me, they're going to check. So it goes behind a conventional loan. So you're going to need a 660 FICO score. You're going to need to have a little bit cleaner credit than an FHA.
Okay.
But all that said and done, if you're even thinking about buying a house this year, but you're not quite sure, do yourself a favor. Just get pre-approved and get your hat in the ring, because you never know.
Yeah, because it is a lottery, right?
It's a lottery. So the way that this works is between February 24th and March 16th, you're going to register. So you're going to have to have a full and complete pre-approval from a lender. Okay. You're going to have, oh my God, this is so important. You're going to have your education done. And what has happened in the past is that people have waited too long and they couldn't get their certificate in time to register. So yeah. You want to get pre-approved, preferably with me. You want to take your education, and then we get you registered from March. Last year, it was like March to mid-May is when they did the vetting and the checking, reviewing your documentation, making sure you weren't lying. And then early June is when the vouchers came. You'll get either a voucher, you'll get waitlisted, or you will get declined. And then if you do get a voucher, you have 90 days to buy a house.
Okay. So the clock starts ticking.
Yeah. You get your name in, but get ready just in case.
Okay.
And so, like I said, fantastic program. But what I kind of like to talk to people about is, what do we do if your name isn't called?
Yeah, that's good. Because from what I understand, it's like having a rich uncle, but you also, they take in part some of the equity. Is that right?
Yeah. Okay. So it's a shared appreciation program.
Right.
So how that works, it's kind of hard to explain, but I'll do my best. It's like talking about the buy down. You buy a house for $500,000. They're going to give you 20% down, which is $100,000.
Okay.
You are carrying a loan for $400,000.
Right. Okay.
5 years down the road, you sell the house for $700,000. Okay. So if you bought it for 5 and you sold it for 7, you have $200,000 in equity.
Sounds like you bought it with me if you have that much equity all of a sudden.
Right? $200,000 in equity. You owe Cal HAFA $100,000, but you also owe them 20% of that $200,000, which would be $40,000.
Right.
So in essence, you'd pay Cal HAFA $140,000. Now, a lot of people get kind of about this, like, oh, they're taking my equity. But I'd like to point it out to you this way. Most down payment assistance is a loan, and most loans carry an interest rate.
Right.
And if you carried $100,000 at a 10%, because it wouldn't be cheap for X amount of years, you're probably pretty close to $40,000 in interest.
Okay, fair enough.
So don't be afraid of the shared
equity. That's
equity.
On the high side. That's if you're making $200,000 in equity in 5 years, which it's somewhat taller. So that's kind of a worst case scenario.
If the house depreciates, what I like about this with Cal HAFA is what they take goes down as well. So,
Okay. Okay.
Again, great program for, the right person. It's going to be a game changer, especially here in the Bay Area where you're not
Sure.
buying a house for $300.
Yeah, you can't save as fast. You can't save 20% down as fast as it's appreciating, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if your name doesn't get called, what's the next best option?
There's a program called Green Line Housing Fund. They are starting reservations in March. That's 10%.
Okay.
Provided they get funding. I'm kind of following the funding. So far, they haven't said anything about it. Provided they get the funding, it's 10%. It is not a payback, and it is not a shared equity. It's just a 10% grant.
Great. Okay.
There's a wait list forming now. There's certain criteria that you have to meet to be eligible for it. So if you're interested, just let me know, and I'll kind of point you in the right direction. That one's fabulous. I'm sure it will go quickly.
Yeah.
There's a ton of down payment assistance programs out there. With down payment, you have a couple different options. You have either a second loan that you can make payments on, or one that will just sit there and you don't pay it till you sell or refinance.
Okay.
You have grants.
Okay.
You have shared appreciation.
Okay. So those are your options.
Those are your options. Grants are what I have found in my 25 years in doing this is the grants can be a challenge because the income limits and the restrictions are usually so much that someone doesn't qualify for a house.
Yeah, a lot of red tape, right?
Yeah. My bread and butter is CalHalfa's regular loan.
Okay.
They'll give you a down payment, and if you need it, they'll give you a third loan for closing costs. So they'll give you up to 5%. Those are loans. They do have to be paid back when you refinance or sell. GSFA is another great one. They pair it with a little bit of a grant and a bigger loan. So like they'll give you 5%, maybe 2%'s the grant and 3%'s the loan.
Okay.
If you are a certain occupation, teachers, police officers, firemen, ambulance, you can get a grant for the 5%.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The one I'm doing a ton with right now is Elevate. Elevate is 3% grant. And with GSFA, for them to waive that for you, you have to have that loan for 5 years.
Oh, okay.
So you can't get in, and if rates drop, automatically
refinance and get back in.
Because you have to pay that loan off.
Got it.
The Elevate loan that I have, you don't.
Oh, okay.
So
there's no seasoning requirement on that one?
Well, 6 months. 6 payments.
Months.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then you can refinance into market rates, which is good because the Elevate loan is running at about 7 1/8 right now.
Okay.
Whereas, CalHalfa's, I think the FHA for CalHalfa is 5.875. So it's you get what you pay for.
Right.
The Elevate is also great because, as you know, as a realtor, especially when you're negotiating for closing costs, CalHalfa is a 2-point cost. I mean, it's expensive before you even add the title fees and everything on top of it.
Sure, yeah.
Whereas the Elevate loan, I mean, you can build that into the interest rate and cut those closing costs down. So
really? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, also, another concern is how long do these take to get approved? Because, we're running a contract for typically 2 to 3 weeks sometimes. Is it going to be 30 days? Is it going to be 45? What do you think?
CalHalfa's have been my bread and butter this year. I've done 4 in the past 6 months, all of them 2-1 buy downs. And we're 21 days.
So you do 2-1 buy down with that, then that works out, right? Okay.
So that sweet spot is, okay, someone comes to you and they have some money. Okay. They were going to use it for their down. They were going to use it for their closing costs.
Okay.
We'll go to CalHalfa for the down. Their money is going to cover closing. Then we're going to ask for a seller credit to cover the buy down.
Got it. Okay.
So I put someone in Hayward on a house. It was 6.5 was the rate. So their first year's based at 4.5. Their second year's based at 5.5, and then 6.5. And the seller paid for it.
Yeah, which is fantastic. And then if the rates do actually go back down, they can refinance out of it.
And what I love about a temporary, I know we're getting off track.
That's
sorry.
Okay.
I'm like, a temporary versus a permanent. So in this instance, I believe it was like $19,000 credit from the seller. Right. In a temporary buy down, that $19,000 goes into like a slush fund account.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so year one, your interest rate isn't actually 4.5. You're paying based on 4.5, and you're paying about $900 short. But that $900 is coming from the slush fund.
Got it.
The next year it's about $500. what's amazing is we get halfway through and the rates drop and I refinance them. Anything in that slush fund goes to their balance, principal pay down.
Nice.
They don't lose that money. Whereas in that scenario, had they done a permanent buy down for 20 grand, they sure as heck wouldn't have got to 4.5. They might have got, 5.8.
Yeah, right.
And if we refinanced them, that was gone.
Right.
So
yeah, that principal coming back and buying down might make the difference too. If you're, you're only in the house for a year, let's say.
Exactly.
Yeah, for debt ratio and mortgage insurance.
Yep.
Now, is anyone doing? I used to call it single file, where they pay all the mortgage insurance up front.
Lump sum.
Lump sum. Okay.
So I have someone right now. She's buying a property. She was gonna come in with 20% down.
Okay.
But we were able to come in with 15% down, and for another 2%, so 17%
instead of 20.
She was able to buy out the PMI up front, and there we saved her 3%.
Yeah, and 3% on what was the purchase price on that?
$572.
Yeah, so that's a good amount of money.
Yeah. She was happy.
What does it do to the rate? Is there a big difference these days?
I mean, and this scenario really only works well if they've got high credit, because I mean, in this instant, I think the buyout was like $7,000.
Okay.
Because she had a 720 FICO score, because she was putting 15% down, that buyout was very minimal. When we're looking at like a 5% down scenario and someone's going to 680, that buyout's like $18,000.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily work.
And that's good. I'm glad you brought that up, because people will think, oh, credit for the interest rate, and that's all they think about. What about, the mortgage insurance? There's so many other things that go into it.
And the other thing with credit too, which I just ran into on another file, I actually had to pick it up and move it to another lender completely, because my client had a 700. My client had no actual trade lines of their own. They were authorized user on everything but one. And the lender
didn't like that. Huh?
No, didn't matter that we got the AUS, didn't matter at all. So luckily, as a broker, I have a couple different ways to go. And we picked it up and we took it somewhere where they didn't care. But
well, that's great to hear.
That's the other thing too.
That's kind of the power of working with the brokers. You have different options, different pools that you can go back and forth with.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then speaking of these different loan scenarios, and there's probably a lot of jargon here, so feel free to call Jen if you have questions. But if you're self-employed and you don't want to show all your money to the IRS, are there options for that?
Oh my gosh, there's so much right now. The bread and butter is a bank statement loan.
Okay.
Basically, they're going to look at either 12 or 24 months. They will look at business or personal. Obviously, the more bank statements you give them, the better the rate.
Okay.
They do 1099s. Maybe you're a gig worker. They'll do it off your 1099s. They'll take that income. I think they give it a haircut of a certain percentage. They'll do a P&L. If you have a CPA who will give you a certified P&L, they'll do a P&L. So, and lo and behold, there are a few no income out there now. You have to have pretty high credit and a significant down payment. But
what about reserves? Probably have to have some reserves.
Reserves, yeah. So I'm doing a bank statement loan right now. It is 12 months personal bank statements for a self-employed borrower, and the rate's not bad. It's 6.75.
That's not bad at all for that program.
No. So
First time I heard about it, those rates were in the 8s.
They were in the 8s. Yeah. Even the debt service coverage ratios loans the rates are starting to come down a little bit too.
Do you want to explain to the audience what that means?
So these are my favorite to do, honestly, because it has to be an investment property, but it's the property that's qualifying. In other words, they're going to look at your credit. They're going to look that you have the 20% down.
Okay.
And then they're going to look at what the property rents for. And if the property rent can offset the mortgage payment, you're approved.
Yeah. So it gets rid of a lot of the red tape of your own personal income coming in. They're just using the rents, right?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. A lot of the investors are doing that. And most of them will do like up to 6 or 7 different properties. So very, very easy.
Oh, so is there a cap usually on how many properties?
I have a client that's actually moving out of state. Speaking of the DSCRs, moving out of state, selling their home and moving to, I don't remember where they're moving, but they're moving out of state and they don't have a job there yet. How are we going to buy a house?
Yeah. Rental income.
We're buying at debt service coverage ratio.
Wow.
20% down that they were planning on doing anyways. it can rent for what it's supposed to.
Okay.
And then when she gets there and gets settled, then she can move in and we can do a refinance into an owner-occupied rate.
That's fantastic. So I'm sure if you're watching this, you probably have a lot of questions for Jen. How can they reach you? What's your best number to reach you at?
925-408-8310.
And online or on Instagram?
Oh God, I don't even know. Jen Lawrie Loans.
I think it is Jen Lawrie Loans.
If you put Jen Lawrie Loans, then everything comes up.
I'll go ahead and make sure it's down in the comments. So thank you so much for coming by. We're going to have you on again, and we'll catch you next time.